Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Protech TR-3 Integrity manual button lock. So this is really cool. This is a knife that is actually got a long, it's been around for a long time. I was about to say it's a long origin story, not really. But the original TR-3 Integrity, I believe, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, was a steel body. And then I think maybe they even did a titanium one as well. The current ones, even though I think they did make a newer steel one at some point. The current ones are aluminum and S35VN. And I gotta say, I am super impressed with these. I love Protech knives. I'm a big Protech fan. These are the types of knives that I pick up, if I'm looking for an auto. So it's interesting. It's always interesting when they do a manual or really anything that's not a side opening automatic knife. But these in particular, for some reason, and anybody who owns this knife and owns other Protech knives will probably echo this. There's something about these Integrities that feels extra. It feels special. And it's beyond the fact that it is a manual knife. It really feels like an upgrade to what Protech typically does. So thank you so much to eKnives for loaning this knife to me for review. I don't get to keep it. It's going to go back to eKnives when I'm done. I will link this at eKnives down in the description. The entry price for this is actually not that bad considering this is a fully US made product. And Protech is not, despite what some people think, they are not an absolutely gigantic company. They typically do small and medium batch items. So it's pretty cool. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram, etc., etc. Let's go ahead and measure this knife. I owned the TR-3 Auto. This is just a manual version of it. So it's, to my knowledge, it's about the same as the TR-3 Auto. We have 8 inches overall. Blade length is 3 inches. Cutting edge is 3.3 inches. Let's do some size comparisons. Any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and others. Up against the 8010 and my own Excalibur, you can see here it is a full-size knife, but it's not quite as big as knives like this. This is about right. The 8 inches for me is the line. That's where I start to call knives full size. So up against the Spyderco PM2 and Para-3, the PM2 is slightly larger. It's like 8.3 inches. It's definitely bigger than something like the Para-3, but I will point out this does have quite a bit more cutting edge than something like the PM2. And then finally, we'll put it up against the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, which this is probably the closest to in the handle profile and overall length, stuff like that. And then I'll also put it up against the Hogue Deca. How is the action? This is hands down. I've handled a lot of button lock knives, a lot. This is hands down one of the nicest button locks I have ever experienced. The break or the disengagement of that button. Sorry, my kids are upstairs doing dishes with, I don't know what they're using. A baseball bat, a cannon, stuff that you wouldn't normally use to do the dishes, but that's what it sounds like. So I'm sorry if it sounds like things are exploding in the background. But anyways, the disengagement here on that button is so crisp. It falls so readily. It legitimately feels like, unless I catch it just like that with the button, it feels like a magnet is pulling that blade down into the closed position. This is typically not what I expect with a button lock. And while, I've said many times, I think that there are plenty of locks out there superior to button locks in terms of reliability, especially in like harder use situations. If a button or plunge lock is done correctly, which this is, and I can demonstrate, if it's done correctly, then it will hold up to normal knife tasks. It's still going to be plenty fine for the vast majority of people. This is done well. I expect, Protech, who's been doing this for a very, very long time, they know how to do it. But everything is completely and totally solid. There is no stick. And the detent that is created by said plunge lock is actually really, really nice. The reverse flick, there's plenty of tension or whatever, the detent that is created by the plunge lock is heavy enough to keep that blade wanting to stay close. So when you do break it with a thumb stud, it feels really good. This is nice. It's not sloppy. And I got to say, as a Malibu owner, this feels 10 times better than my Malibu. But I'll be fair. My Malibu is from like 4 years ago. So this is the first manual knife from Protech. I'm trying to refresh my memory. It's the first manual knife from Protech that I've handled in a long time, and it is exceptionally nice. Carry profile. Thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. It's slightly, just a hair thicker. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. The carry profile of the TR-3 has always been really great. I consider the TR-3 to be a flagship model. I don't know if that's historically true with Protech. It just kind of seems like that's the case. I think there's more variations of the TR-3 in their line than anything else, which I'll link those down in the description as well. But yeah, this is not a difficult... My voice cracked there. Still going through puberty at 37 years old. But anyways, this is a very easy knife to carry. The overall length is slightly longer than the Para 3. It's not quite as tall. It's definitely shorter than the PM2, not quite as tall this way either. So pretty typical pocket knife size. Materials, what are we looking at here? This is anodized aluminum, but I got to stress this. This is insanely nice. Their anodizing process... the end result, especially with this texture pattern here, is so clean. It feels so polished, so finished. So like the company behind this product obviously cares, right? Nothing about this feels sloppy. It's just so nice. So you could reduce it to it's just aluminum, but it's the 6061 T6, so the appropriate aluminum, one of the appropriate aluminum grades you want for a folding knife. And then in this case, the dark green anodizing just looks awesome, and it looks so nice with this texture pattern, but it just feels so good and solid. Not lightweight or flimsy. I mean, I'm sorry, it's still fairly lightweight, but it doesn't feel flimsy. It just feels solid. So we have that, and then we have S35EN for the blade steel, which I am perfectly okay with. I love that steel. I think it's great, especially at this price point. 4.1 ounces, so considering it's a 3.5 inch blade, I don't think 4.1 ounces is all that bad, far from it. It actually, you know what, the balance is pretty good. It's right in the middle of where you're gonna have your index finger, so then not bad at all. Let's go and do a hardware check. I'll get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use in this channel. They do have some Torx on this, and it's just for the pocket clip, T6. Everything else is a hex, which is fine. I don't like the hex. I find that me personally, I find that they strip out a little easier and they're a lot easier to mess up. I would prefer Torx. I've been saying this for a long time. I wish that Protech would go all Torx. They clearly aren't going to. It's fine. If you want to get into this knife, that's a very common bit. So it'll be pretty easy as long as you have the right tools for the job. It should be good to go. This set, just to let you guys know, is all Torx, but there are, I think in my actual Amazon store, there's a larger set that includes those hex sets if you want to check out. Anyways, let's measure the blade stock thickness. I feel like Protech typically is about 125 thousandths. I think sometimes they go a little thicker, but we'll find out. That's exactly right. It's about 125 thousandths, a little bit thinner than that, so that's fine. And we already weighed it, so let's go ahead and move into the meat and potatoes. This is a very nice knife. It's a good tool. It's a fancy tool. It's an American-made tool. In particular, I love this milling pattern. It's like a series of triangles, and then they have also milled out a perimeter, which it makes the pattern look a lot better. Like sometimes when the pattern goes to the edge, it's just kind of blah. It just ends. This just looks really, really nice, and it does provide meaningful traction. Instead of being like peaks and valleys, it's more like pockets that they've milled into it. So it's smooth until you grip it. So this is not going to, there's still a smooth spot under the pocket clip. We're going to talk about that pocket clip. It's smooth, and then you push down, and that texture grabs your fingers in a nice way, not an aggressive way, but it feels good. The lock-in on this knife is awesome. I really wish that they would add some jimping up here, but it's really, really good. We have a straightforward, traditional, utilitarian drop point. Some people call it spear point blade. It says Protech S35EN. Protech does a great job with their heat treatment. To my knowledge, this is legitimately DLC. They do PVD. but I know that they also do DLC, and the listings for these knives on all of the major retailers are DLC, and so that's what that's going to be, is DLC. S35EN does not need it for corrosion resistance, but it's not like S35EN is impervious, so it does help a little bit, but it's also going to dramatically improve the scratch resistance of the blade. If you choose to get the DLC model, you can get it uncoated or a non-coated blade. Just kind of, it's a preference thing. You will pay less for the non-coated versions. Cutting bevel is really good. I'll let you guys take a look at that plunge lock there. If that's something that affects you or that you consider before you buy a knife, I think it looks okay. But yeah, really nice factory edge, really, really good. I have no issues with the blade, and I love the shape and size of the thumb stud. It's so good. A thumb stud that's just not optimized for your finger is just irritating to use. Every single time you deploy the knife, you're like, oh, this is that pocket knife that has the stupid thumb studs. It drives me nuts, right? So making the thumb stud easy to engage with, but as comfortable as possible, is really a big deal. And the TR-3 does a really, really good job of that, so I like that a lot. The fit and finish on this is absolutely superb. There is nothing out of place or wonky or goofy or wacky. It's got that seam construction, so no backspacer. This can be a bit risky because if it's not lined up perfectly, it ends up looking like garbage, and this is lined up absolutely perfect. It's also risky because if the blade is not centered, then it's really going to highlight it, but as you can see here, that blade is centered. So that's really, really cool. I like that a lot. Little spot for a lanyard, you can kind of jam it through there if you want to. There is no position for lefty carry on this. It is right-handed only. I'm not aware if they make a left-handed model. I don't think that they do, but I feel like they should. The pocket clip is great outside of the fact that the end of the bill is very shallow. This makes it, you kind of have to mash it into the pocket seam a little bit. There is a bald spot underneath here, which is fine, but sometimes I kind of have to like hold the pocket and mash it in there. This could be corrected by simply getting rid of this bill and having the pocket clip end on the rise like this. This is much easier because as you push it in, the pocket clip just ramps up and it does not get caught on this weird straight bill. But this is far from a deal breaker. It's a slightly irritating thing, and I have that irritation, that slight irritation with a lot of different pocket clips, and this is far from the worst offender, so that's fine. Yeah, I wish that they would get rid of that. I really like that they even gave that perimeter line, like they even milled it around the pivot so that it looks good, like the texture pattern doesn't just like abruptly run into the pivot. It's on both sides. Really, really cool. I love that. Your lockup on this guy, stop pin located right there. We have no shouldering, but that's okay. It doesn't need it. This knife runs on bearings. I don't know if you could tell. Absolutely zero blade play up, down, left, and right. Ever so slight amount of button stick, but this is something that's pretty typical with plunge lock, so it's not really that big of a deal, and usually it works itself out. We have no pivot lash whatsoever, completely solid, very smooth and consistent in here. It's just so nice, really impressive. There must be a section of the blade that's obviously not coated because they really took special care to make sure that the pivot was good. And like I said, for a plunge lock detent, pretty snappy. Like that feels nice. Really, really good. Entry price on this knife. Like I said, you will pay more for the DLC models, and when they do the stainless steel, a lot of people ask, why does Protech do stainless steel instead of titanium? To my knowledge, periodically they do both. It's kind of rare to see Protech work with titanium, but they do. Why stainless steel? I don't know. It's just funny to me that like stainless steel can be found on budget knives, but it's also a material that people go nuts for. When like Protech does like a stainless steel framed knife. I know that Microtech has done that in the past as well. I don't know. As is the case with any material, it's not necessarily the cost of the material itself. It's how much it costs to put the work into the material in the final product, right? So stainless steel, obviously that's going to make the balance really butt heavy. Titanium will be lighter, and it's considered a more premium material. I consider it a more premium material, but it's still going to be heavier. And then obviously aluminum's not nearly as expensive. So I don't know. I personally, I would kind of be interested in a steel version of this, but much more interested in a titanium version. I think that'd be great, but the price is going to be much higher. You're probably looking at a $400 or $500 knife there if that's all that's different. But these aluminum versions, the entry price is $225. in the 2025 knife market. If you're going to throw 2015 prices at me, save it. That was 10 years ago. In the 2025 knife market, considering Protech makes a ultra premium, small to medium batch U.S. product, this is probably, it's cool that this product is called the Integrity. And that's, like, when I think of Protech, I think of integrity, like the truest sense of the word. Protech is an awesome company. They stand by their products. They make these things in the USA. They are unbelievably high-quality products, right? And they are not taking their prices. Can you imagine, if Benchmade made this, can you imagine what they would charge for it? So, yeah, I think Protech is very fair with the vast majority of their pricing. They got a couple of knives here or there. I'm like, why does that cost so much, right? The vast majority of their stuff, yes. I don't have a problem with the $225 entry price, and I honestly don't have a problem with, a lot of the stuff, with what they charge extra for the DLC. I think that's fine. I love this model. I love everything about it except for that little flat end of the bill at the end of the clip. And then I wish that they would use Torx. But outside of that, this is wonderful. This is a wonderful American-made knife. I like the automatic version, but I also like this manual version. Honestly, it makes me wish that they would do manual versions of lots of the knives in their catalog. I think that would be cool. But yeah, this new version of the Integrity, I expected to kind of feel like, yeah, it's cool. And then that was it. I like this way more than I thought I would. This actually has me kind of on the hunt for one, wanting to see if they bring back the steel or especially the titanium version. I would like that. But as it sits, yes, this is a highly recommendable knife. No problem with the price. Definitely check it out. I'll link it at eKnives in the description. That's going to be it today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.